not to move.
Whenever we have to access a specific application, it doesn't matter whether we talk about online application, which are currently we call software as a services, or maybe we are trying to access our resources in-house, which we called on-premises application. In both of these scenarios, we have to make sure that we must have an authorized user which can have a certain access to use our resources within that application. But to access those resources, first we have to create a username and the password, and based on that username password, we have to assign certain permission based on resources available on both of these applications, whether it is in-house or online application. And when we logged in, we should have a specific access management system which will give us a permission. Hey, you will have to access that many resources because you have this much authorization to access these resources, or this much permission to access these resources. Once our user been authorized or authenticated, it has to use some sort of identity management. So guys, right now I am talking about Microsoft Identity and Access Management System or service, which we called Microsoft Azure Active Directory. Hello guys, my name is HarshArena, and in today's video we are going to talk more about Microsoft Azure Active Directory and its related services, and obviously more in depth in about the practical, that how we can create users, groups, guest users, and bulk operations to create these users, groups within Microsoft Azure Active Directory. But to understand more about Microsoft Azure Active Directory, I need to give some explanation, give you some idea to better understanding on this specific service, because I'm not sure that how many of you are already aware that what is Microsoft Azure Active Directory. Some of you, or even I expect most of you, already know what that is, but for those people who is doing this Microsoft Cloud course for the first time, I think you guys also must be aware because this is the core part of to begin with any of the administrator profile or the job, because whenever you join any organization, the very basic thing you should know or you must know is to create users, delete those users, changes requested made by these users or your managers or your other stakeholders. So you should be aware that where you have to go, what option you have to choose, and how you can move forward if somebody talk about these users and groups in Microsoft Azure Active Directory. So guys, to better understand about the very first thing, that what is Azure Active Directory, I would like to first give you some brief idea based on this picture, right? And then we will move forward in details in the practical, because today we have more practical and less theory, but don't worry, theory is there which will help you to understand more about Active Directory features, or we called Microsoft Identity and Access Services or Access Management Services. So guys, the very first thing I would like to talk about here is Active Directory, not Azure Active Directory, just Active Directory feature, because it was introduced in Windows Server back in Windows Server 2003 and 2008, later 2012, 16. In fact, in 2019, we all can find Active Directory feature as a part of role. What you have to do to make sure that you can prepare a domain environment. Domain environment means more control environment for your users or whatever the people are working in your organization, because each one of them has to log in into their own account and verify that what resources access do they have based on whatever the user profile they are using and application built by developers. So make you better understand on that. So here in this picture, I just want to give you one example here and make you understand that how these things are working in today's world, in a modern world where we have Azure Active Directory. So guys, in the past, or right now, in fact, some of the organization who is actually following hybrid environment or on-premises environment, what they have to do, they have to install Windows Server operating system, which is right here. As an example, let's talk about 2019. So in this 2019 operating system, we have a role called Azure, Active Directory Domain Services. I'm sorry, because I'm more into cloud business, so I most of the time use Azure Active Directory. So guys, apologize for just confusing or make you confused about Active Directory and Azure Active Directory. Anyway, let's come back. So in 2019 operating system, we have ADDS, or we called Active Directory Domain Services, which is a kind of or obviously it's a Microsoft identity and access management services installed by default on Windows Server operating system. Now once you install this service, then you have to assign a specific domain name, which we called identity, or just make sure that we are gonna be identified by a specific name. Now as an example, right now my company or not company, my channel name is HarshArena. So right now HarshArena, I called it as a HA. So what I have to do is with configuring this ADDS service, I used to configure that ADDS or Active Directory service with the name of ha.local as an example. So what does it mean? I'm giving a specific name to my Active Directory service, and whenever other domain servers or any other machine would like to join my domain environment, they have to connect via this name, which is HarshArena or ha.local. So as soon as they connect with ha.local, which means they have a centralized management access to those resources, and the users I have created in Windows Server 2019 under Active Directory can now log in to this domain environment. It doesn't matter whether you logged in overseas, means you can log in this via a VPN service. I'm actually getting more deeper just to make you understand. In today's world, while we are working from home, some of organization who is actually using on-premises Active Directory, what they have to do is they have to configure virtual private network, or we call it VPN or site-to-site VPN, depends on requirement, and they connect this VPN service to their domain environment first, and then use their username and password to log in into the certain applications where they have access to their resources. Now, these usernames and the passwords information has to stored in Active Directory. So it's a kind of structure or identity structure where we will have all the information like name of the user, password of the user, management related to the password, management related to the resources, permissions, certain groups, because could be these users have access to email services, certain people have such kind of feasibility. So in that scenario, Active Directory do a very important role here, because it has a skeleton structure to store each and every metadata information about the user. So to actually explain you all these things, just come back to a short line. Active Directory and Azure Active Directory has a very common difference here. Active Directory is based on on-premises identity and access management system where people can log in into domain services. But when we talk about Azure Active Directory, obviously the structure, the skeleton structure is absolutely same. The only difference is with Azure Active Directory, you can simply log into the cloud services, or we call it software as a service applications. For example, Dropbox, which is a software as a service where we have to pay the money for the subscription and access using Gmail account. Some people are using Microsoft account. It doesn't matter here, but the point here is we are using these services based on access and identity management service. However, these Azure Active Directory can be logged in into or configured into any of the cloud-based applications. Now, how I can combine these two together, that's the best example in this picture you can get. Because here I have, for example, ha.local. This is my domain name in on-premises identity, or you can say in my on-premises infrastructure. And I also have configured my tenant, which we called in Microsoft Azure tenant, with the name of, let's say, HarshArena.in as an example. So this HarshArena, I just write down a name. Actually, I'm a bit slow with the mouse, so don't mind. I'm trying to write down I. I means in and L means local. So I configured this. Now, what I want that my user in on-premises also can be logged in into the cloud-based application anywhere in the world. So to achieve that kind of goal, what solution Microsoft has given us is actually has to configure Microsoft Azure AD Connect, but obviously you must have an Azure account first. If you have that, what you can do, you can configure an Azure AD Connect server, which has connected with the SQL database, because these on-premise server send all the information about, or metadata information about these users to this AD Connect server. It has to store somewhere so that it can synchronize whatever the information required to Azure Active Directory. Once it has stored in a safe place or in a specific database of SQL, then it transferred to Azure Active Directory based on your tenant or username password you have configured on this Azure AD Connect, because it must have an administrator privileges. So as soon as you have that, your username, let's say my username is A, that has been successfully synchronized to Azure, because previously this username A can only and only logged into all the on-premises or in-houses application which has configured on-premises. Whenever we are trying to log in with user A in cloud, it won't allow us to do that because there is no identity has been stored in Azure. But after perform this action, you are able to achieve your goal. You can have this A user information back in Azure, and you can access username with A anywhere in the world. In fact, you can use this user A to any other application, whether it is your in-house application or in fact your, any of your software as a service or SaaS or cloud-based application as well. Now, I would like to apologize for one thing, because I explained so many things in one picture or in this introductory part, because guys, I know you guys or some of you guys are not aware about Active Directory, that what that is and how actually it works. But for those who already know, for them, I explained that many things. But this is the basic thing you should remember, although we are not going to touch a very deep dive in Active Directory or Azure Active Directory, because we should know how much we need to know in AZ-104 certification. So for that, we have options here. Is we should know that how to create a user and groups in Azure Active Directory, which we are going to cover today. The next one is external AAD user, which is very interesting and a great way to allow other people to join your tenant and do the job for you if it is required. As an example, right now, I have a user called ha.l or under .local, or in fact, I don't care about on-premises. I directly care about my HarshArena.in domain name, which I have configured in my Azure, means in Microsoft Azure. Now, what I want is I have certain applications and I do not have resources right inside my organization who can work on these applications. So what I have done, I have contacted some of the vendors team and I have hired some developers, and I want them to work within my Active Directory system, or means I would like them to invite to access my application, which is completely based on my Active Directory or Azure Active Directory, because only the users created in my Azure Active Directory can access those resources, not outside world. Because of or with the help of external AAD user or guest user, you can invite them and they can access your resources based on that request. Don't worry, we are going to complete this practical today and you will have a very clear picture how you can access. The next step is also very important, that how if you receive a request to access lots of users or lots of groups need to be created at the same time, what would be the easiest way to achieve that or do that? So guys, I am pretty sure all of you have heard about CSV format, and I'm sure most of you have already worked with the CSV format in Excel, where comma based information we have provided in CSV file format, and we simply upload this CSV format file to Microsoft Azure, and Microsoft Azure will read that information, and how many users you have requested in that file will be automatically created in Azure Active Directory. Now, how you can perform this bulk operation, we are also going to cover it today. So guys, to review, although we are going to go a little bit deeper about Azure Active Directory, and of course I'm going to show you that where you can find more information about on-premises Active Directory, just to let you know, for those guys who do not have any idea whatsoever that what we have in Azure Active Directory and in Active Directory in on-premises, and what are the major differences you can find. Although, as I said, we are not going to go deep dive in today's video, but I do have a plan to create a bonus video later after completion of AZ-104, where I'm going to touch much more deeper like schema master, FSM roles, these kind of words here. You don't need to worry right now, because it is directly related to Active Directory, which is on-premises based, but we don't need to care about these all in Azure Active Directory, which is really a good thing for a cloud engineers or cloud-based administrators. So guys, we have talked here a lot about introduction, but whatever I have shared is a very important information, and I think you should know about this. So let's go further and go a little bit deeper about Azure Active Directory, then do the practical. All right, so we are going to begin right now with the understanding more on Azure Active Directory. We are not going to talk about Active Directory here, because obviously that's not today's topic, but I already give you the basic understanding that how you can identify the difference between Azure Active Directory and Active Directory. But just to keep in your mind one more time, that Active Directory is based on-premises domain service, where you can identify the user based on your domain environment. But Azure Active Directory is exactly the same thing, but the difference here is everything is managed by now Microsoft. Because in domain environment within your organization, you have the complete control on each and every metadata or information of Active Directory, whereas in Azure Active Directory, you will have only the limited access information, which is provided by Microsoft, and the skeleton structure is managed by Microsoft only. You are not allowed to touch that. Although Microsoft has given all the possible information and possible options for us to configure your users, but still, I can say, because I worked on Active Directory, and per my experience, obviously you won't have that kind of visibility like you always have in your Active Directory. All right, again, I'm not going to talk about Active Directory here today, because I don't want you to feel a little bit insecure that, hey, why we are not moving forward with Active Directory. So let me maximize my OneNote, because we are going to now jump back from my Mac, and congratulations all of you guys, because I purchased a Mac machine and on which I'm start preparing our videos. So I would like to congratulate each one of you, and thank you for your support, and thank you for being there always on the channel. Thank you. Let's begin. So guys, to understand more about Azure Active Directory, as I already mentioned, it's a cloud-based, or which is I also call Microsoft cloud-based identity and access management service, which allows our users to log in based on specific authorization to access their resources, and Azure Active Directory authenticate all of those users once they have been verified by the identity service, which is Azure Active Directory. So now, as soon as you logged in with your username and the password, you will have resources based on IAM, which we also call Identity and Access Management Service. We used to configure these service, each and every service within Microsoft Azure. Don't worry, I will show you where you can find IAM, and strangely you already know where that is, but just you guys, if you skip in some of my previous videos, but today at least I can show you one more time that where you can find this IAM, which is directly related to access management. And here the Azure Active Directory identify the information of user and then verify that how much authorization you have on the specific application, and based on that you are able to access your resources. So we are going to review that at least today. Now, another thing which you need to know about Azure Active Directory, that how it can help you and what are the great advantages of using Azure Active Directory. So guys, first of all, if you are running Active Directory, you are complete access of your in-house application. But in today's world, in modern world, everybody wants to make sure that their users can easily access resources sitting at their home, because due to Corona or COVID-19, we mostly, or in fact, all of our organizations are mostly working from home these days. So there is no feasibility that people go to their corporate network, or I mean their offices, and then access the resources. Another solution used by most of people are using VPN service, especially for those who has not configured Active Directory with Microsoft Azure Active Directory using AD Connect, which I give you one example during our initial information or initial slide. So obviously VPN is that another secondary solution, but I still believe and recommend that if you have Azure Active Directory, you will have more power in your hand to manage your resources. Anyway, let's move forward. And also this Azure Active Directory enables us as an administrator to offer external users to allow login to our own tenant. I already give you one example in the initial slide about the external user, where we send an invitation, and as soon as the user accept that invitation, it can move forward with the creation of the username and can have access of the application which we want to allow them to access with limited permission. This kind of feature can help developers where we would like to hire third-party or vendors developer who can help us to achieve our desired goal. However, there are a couple of more words or features I would like to share here as a part of Azure Active Directory, and you guys should be aware about these. Number one, if you talk about apps management, so guys, application management in Azure Active Directory, it's a great features, because that's exactly I was talking about, that Microsoft Azure Active Directory can help you to log in your cloud-based application system. So this means that you can use the same email ID and logged in anywhere you want, wherever people have configured Azure Active Directory within their own application, integration service, or integrated into their own environment or application. So that's a great way, but don't worry, this part we will cover more in our second part of this video, in the Active Directory or Azure Active Directory video. The second thing is about authentication, which I already mentioned, that as soon as the user and the password has been typed, it can allow us to log in successfully. It doesn't matter whether we are using on-premises and cloud-based. In case we have configured directory synchronization or AD Connect server, because it keeps synchronizing all of your username back and forth in between Active Directory on-premises and Azure Active Directory in Microsoft Azure. So the third thing is the business to business, which I already explained and give you an example about external user. So you can invite external users to achieve your business goals. That's the word used by Azure Active Directory, business to business. Facilities can be given by Azure Active Directory. Conditional access, guys, this is really a great feature. I really impressed basically from Azure Active Directory that they introduced this feature recently. Not more than 1 year. And even they keep improving this conditional access. The only thing, you cannot find conditional access with your free Active Directory access. So guys, when I have to show this practical, whenever I have to purchase the premium plan for showing the conditional access of the Azure Active Directory. But don't worry, that's a later thing. Now, what this is, the conditional access have two kind of workflow, if and then. For example, if you are trying to access Office 365, then you will have that much access. So I think you get my point, if and then. So you can decide in a workflow that if you are logged into this application, what kind of resources, access management you would like to give to that user. So that's the part of conditional access, because that's the best example I can give it to you. But I think it's much more clear. All right. The next is a hybrid identity, which I already explained, that if you have configured Active Directory and Azure Active Directory in a hybrid environment where users back and forth synchronized, then it's a great way, because now you don't need to worry or don't need to even set up a separate or specific or spatial identity to verify that user, to authenticate that user. You simply have configured hybrid environment, and that user can easily log into your in-house application as well as cloud-based application as well. So it's pretty much it. Now, before to move forward into the practical, I would like to give you one introduction about the documentation about Azure Active Directory, which is really a good example you should go for. And guys, this is the link I recommend and highly recommend every one of you to go, because I think if you do not have each and every information about Active Directory, you are very much unaware about Microsoft Azure, because the core of Microsoft Azure is Azure Active Directory. So you should know about Azure Active Directory more. Here you can find product overview, feature, security, that how Microsoft spending $1 billion each year to increase and protect your identities online. So it's lots of great information you can find within this link, as well as when we talk about documentation, and if you are very much unaware that what exactly Active Directory is, then you can find out here. Getting started resources, what is Azure Active Directory? As soon as you click here, it can take you to the basic information about Azure Active Directory, and here you can also find more information that how Azure Active Directory turns your business into a better way to access your resources, including the best features, also lanes, some sort of practicals, some sort of step-by-step guidelines. Lots of things is here. So whenever I prepare these videos, or whenever I have to deliver those information, and when I start learning these topics, I go through this documentation, although these are bold, and that's why people like video platform. So don't worry guys, I am also going to cover most of it, but still, some people are having curiosity to know more about it. So this is the right link for you. So guys, now let's move forward to Azure, Microsoft Azure, and see how it can help us to do better thing for us. To begin with the practical, before to proceed further with creation of Azure Active Directory user and group, I would like to show you that what kind of information you can see in Active Directory. Especially to show you guys, I have installed Windows Server 2019 in Azure, obviously, and I have configured Active Directory inside that server, and I'm using Windows Server 2019. Please do not worry if you are using 2012, 2016, 2019, 2008, 2003. All of these Active Directory can have a similar screen, although you can find the differences in between the looks and the features. But don't worry, you will get the clear idea that what we are going to learn in Azure Active Directory after you understand more about Active Directory on premises. Because as I mentioned, that Azure Active Directory is nothing but the Active Directory which is managed by Microsoft in the backend. So guys, let's first go to our server and see that how we can create a user in Active Directory, and then later we will create the user in Azure Active Directory just for your own reference. So to access that, let me jump over to my remote desktop application, where I have already my Windows Server 2019 configured. And in fact, just to show you that what operating system and what sort of information I have configured, I have already installed ADDS, which we call Active Directory Domain Services in this operating system, because it took some time and I don't want you to waste more time. The reason why is because it is today's, we are not going to talk more on Active Directory. In fact, we are going to talk more about Azure Active Directory. However, I would like to show you the differences because it can give you the clear picture that, all right, so this kind of structure we can create and this kind of information we can have in Active Directory, and that's how we can see similar information in Azure Active Directory as well. So guys, here we have ADDS on the left hand side. Just to show you directly, and I have configured, this is the name of my machine, and I have configured my Active Directory with ha.local. This is the domain name which does not require to configure on a cloud-based or cloud end. Means I don't need to purchase a domain name for that. If you are unique with this name, you can certainly configure that. So I configured ha.local just for your reference here. So because you can see the similarity once we jump on our practical in Azure Active Directory, that how you can achieve the same thing. So guys, here, if I just go right click, you can find out lots of features, right? These are the services and the features available, LDP, ADS I added, which is a great way to manage your metadata. And you can find more information, domain and trust based on other domains available in your environment, or you would like to configure a two-way trust or one-way trust configuration in between different domains or your domain. So I mean, lots of things you can find out in Active Directory, and as I said, you have the complete control on the Active Directory. And yeah, so anyway, let's move forward with the Active Directory users and computers right now, where I would like to show you that what kind of information you can see. So guys, here you can find out under ha.local, which is, as I mentioned, my domain name, and my machine name is, just to show you, if I go back here and if I go to dashboard or then local server, sorry. So here you can find out the complete name, if you can see here. Otherwise, I need to show you with a different way. Let me show you in a different way. I thought it, oh yeah, the full name is HarshArena SRV. @ha.local. That's the UPN of this computer or this machine or this domain. So if I go to the properties, here you can find out the full computer name is HarshArena SRV.ha.local, right? So because the similar thing you can also find out in Azure Active Directory. That's why I would like to show you here. Now guys, if you go here under your domain name and under users, I have already created one user called Dns Settings, right? So in this user, it's pretty simple user, and how you can create it, just right click on this user, create a new, and go to user. Although as I mentioned on Active Directory, you have more feature and more control, so you can create multiple other kind of identities. But right now, we only talk about users here. So as soon as you click user, you need to type in your username, and then when you go to the next, type your password. That's all. That's all you need. And here is your domain name, which means it will help you to complete your UPN, which we call user principal name. So for example, if I type Harsh here, so the full name or the UPN would be harsh@ha.local as an example. Similarly, I have created Dns Settings. And guys, if you would like to modify any information, you can find lots of additional information in the properties here. If you go to the properties, you can find general, where you can add description, office name, telephone number, email ID, web page, for each and every individual user, your address, zip code, everything, account information, where you can control whether if it is blocked, you can block it, you can unblock it, you can manage, set your password, account expiry you can set. So you can see you have more control on each and every option, each and every thing here. Profile path, this is all about user profile, where you would like to save organization name, telephones, where you can configure fax, iPhone, IP phone, remote control, whether you want to allow. Now, this all things has to manage by administrator, and obviously that many option or this much control you cannot find in Azure Active Directory. So guys, this is what I just want to give you the brief idea that how your Active Directory looks like and where you can find this information. So now let's jump into Azure Active Directory and let's try to create a user. And before that, let me show you the great way how you can, access your username using Azure Active Directory with conditional access and with additional layer of security. I will show you right now. So guys, to access our Microsoft Azure platform, you already know that we have to go to portal.azure.com. Now, I have actually configured this with my Microsoft Authenticator, which means that it actually gives us additional layer of security, which we call multi-factor authentication. And it is based on conditional access, because if this user account has to log in into Microsoft Azure, it has to go to Microsoft Authenticator to verify its identity, then only it allows to access the resources within this username. So this is the best example I can give it to you, and I will show you the whole process. So here guys, I have already typed in my username, which is harshitprofessional@hotmail.com. So what else I have to do? I have to actually go to my mobile, where I have configured Microsoft Authenticator service. So right now you can find Microsoft Authenticator service on my phone, which is right here. And I just logged in, as you can see here in my mobile. And when I click on Microsoft Portal, then automatically it gives notification, right? So as soon as it send a notification, you can see on my screen there's an approve option, approve or deny. So it can help me to protect my identity, whether someone else is trying to log in or is it me only. So yeah, this is me, nobody else. So I click approve. So it has to verify my face because I have configured with my biometric or face ID. And as soon as I verify this, it allows me to log into my Microsoft Azure account. So that's how your Microsoft Azure Active Directory works for you on a conditional access or multi-factor authentication. I hope it gives you more information or much better idea how you can configure. It's pretty simple. Just go to Microsoft Authenticator service, plus there's a sign called plus, and add your username and password for Microsoft Azure, verify it, and that's it. Right? So now I think it gives you better idea how we can move forward with our training exercises, right? You can also do it by your own. It's pretty easy. Now to move forward, what we can do now, we simply go to Azure Active Directory. So the easiest way is obviously you can search here Azure Active Directory, or you can simply go to left hand side. You can find Azure Active Directory. Yeah, it's right here. Or you can also find in my recent items under Azure Services. So any one place is fine with us. So click here. So as soon as you go, the very first step I would like to share, or I would like to give here is you can find your custom domain name, because as you can see, my primary domain name is HarshArena.in, right? Which is directly added to my tenant information. I would like to tell you that by default, if you look at your Microsoft Azure Active Directory, you won't find this. You can find something like, in fact, let me show you what kind of name you can find here. So previously, I have configured this with my harshitprofessional@hotmail.com. So automatically you can find your email ID on Microsoft.com. So this is the default domain name assigned to any of your default Active Directory. But if you remember, in Active Directory on premises, we have configured ha.local, right? So similarly, if you like to configure in Azure Active Directory, you have to purchase a domain for that. because right now you are dealing with cloud, and in cloud, lots of domain exist. So you cannot just simply give any name you like. So for that, I have actually configured and purchased. Let's do one thing. Let me just make it this screen big so that you can more focus on what we are doing. And sorry guys, I sometimes forgot this, so bear with me in that regard. All right, so actually I have purchased this domain just to show you guys that how you can configure and how you can verify, in fact. So for that, I simply go here and I go to, actually I purchased this in GoDaddy. So let me log in because I also configured my GoDaddy. Oh, it's already logged in. So, all right. I don't want any activation for discount, and I like Dhoni's mustache. But still, Dhoni, you look cool, and we all love you. All right, guys. Okay, let's go to all my all of my settings or all of my domains, because I purchased 2 domains from GoDaddy. One is HarshArena.com, where my website is running, and one is HarshArena.in, which I just purchased for this practice. So guys, as you can see, HarshArena.in is here. So as soon as you click on this, what it will show you, it can show you some settings, right? So if you go to the DNS settings, obviously we have to go, because here you can find one specific settings, manage zones. No, let me do one thing. Let me go to another way, because it can be an easy way to do it. My product, yeah, because I would like to jump in directly to my DNS settings, which is, I think, right here. Yeah. And yeah, remember guys, each and every have different one. So manage DNS, you have to go this place. In the manage DNS, you can find out some records, right? And as you can see, the very last record, txt @ blah, 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 this record has been already there, correct? So I have configured this record based on this domain name verification here. As an example, if I click add custom domain, it will ask you, for example, HarshArena.com as an example. So once it is verified, yeah, it exists. So I click add domain. So what it does, it is trying to show some information that I have to add manually this txt record here in my GoDaddy right now, because I have purchased my domain name from GoDaddy. So as soon as I add this record, just wait for 1 or 2 minutes and click verify. So once it is verified, what it does, it automatically add your domain as a verified domain, and you can use this domain to create your usernames here, right? So simple. I think you get my point. So right now we cannot modify. So sorry, I don't want to verify this. So I just simply want to delete this HarshArena.com here. So it has been deleted. All right. So anyway, as soon as you click on overview in Azure Active Directory, this was the page, and we are trying to touch all of these settings right down below here. At the moment, we have to do a practice to create a username, right? And group name. So start with the user. I click here. So similarly, you find the same settings or similar kind of information on Active Directory on premises as well. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a user, right? So I'm going to create Danny, and name is Danny, complete name, or Danny Johnny Bravo. I like to create a Danny Bravo, right? So what would be my complete email ID? Danny Bravo @harsharena.in, correct? So this is my whole name, and the first name would be Danny and last name would be Bravo. You would like to auto-generate a password, because it's a great thing. If you don't like to type your password, it can show you the password. And if you like to type by your own, you can also do that. So let me do my own password, because sometime you have some kind of permissions or settings has to set by an administrator that users should not configure or add their own password sometime. So in that scenario, auto-generated passwords are good for you. Now guys, what kind of roles and what kind of groups you would like to add? So as soon as you click on 0 group selected, so these are the groups. One group I have created called HarshArena owner, where I have certain people, only the administrator can join this. So if this is the administrator, you simply click here and automatically it will join this group, and whatever the permission I have assigned to this group will be replicated to this user. Pretty simple, right? And sweet. Right now I don't want, so I just close this. Similarly, what roles, or I called it IAM. So what kind of, sorry, not IAM, what roles you would like to assign this user? Application administrator, or you just want him to manage your username or password reset and everything. So you can just click on user administrator, last one as an example. If you select this, he will be a user administrator. At the moment, I just want you to review these all type of administrators, and if you like it, you can assign any one of the role you like to this user. Currently for me, a user, it's fine. Block sign in, you would like to block or not? No, it's fine. Usage location, if you have set any of location, you can set that where is this user based and where this guy is gonna work. So currently he's in India. So I would like to give that information. Now, as you can see, job title, department, company name, managers. If you have all those records with you, you can just simply configure that properly. Right now, just click create and it will automatically create a user for us. Very, very simple step. Not at all difficult. And I think you also learned this with a quick step that how you can create this user, and you can see this user has been created successfully. Now, if you like to see this information more and you like to see what kind of more information in the properties you can find, simply click on users here and you can find different kind of users I have created already. So we have created Danny Bravo, right? So I click here. So in Danny Bravo, I just select this and either go to delete, refresh, all sort of thing, or simply click on this. It's fine for us. So as soon as you click, or let me just do one thing, directly click on the user if it allows us. Yeah, that would be fine. So this is the properties, guys. You can just add information when it is created, the sign in information, object ID. Object ID would be used when you are dealing with the user creation using PowerShell. So job information, if you like to add it, these all things, just click edit and you can start editing all those information. Now you can also see contact information, city, email, authentication methods, and many more information, age group, whether you are minor, adult. So all of these settings can be done and update here. Of course, you can have more information as well, group, devices, licenses, login. The only thing right now I'd like to share is sign in. Because as you can see, right now there is no sign in found because we have not logged in with this username. So let's do one thing. Let's try to log in with this username. But before that, let me check that how it is going to be logged in. So this is the user principal name, guys. Danny Bravo. @HarshArena.in. So don't make any mistake. So let me copy that, in fact, and let me jump on my another, browser, which is I'm going to use Firefox here. So we are in Firefox and let me start with the private window, right? That would be good. So portal.azure.com. I logged in and now I'm going to type Bravo. Sorry, what was the name? Danny Bravo @HarshArena.in, right? So when I click next, so automatically it asks me the password. It means the user exists. But remember, guys, I have not given any permission to this user, right? Update your password because we are logged in for the first time. That would be fine. This was my previous password. Hopefully I'm writing the right one, and it's gonna be this. I like the sound of the keyboard. All right, so let me sign in. No, I don't want to save this. All right, there's no, oh, okay, that's not a current password. I told you the typo would be there. All right, so let me try again. Hopefully this time is good. Seems good. So stay sign in. Yes, stay sign in. So guys, right now I am in the portal and you can see I do not have permission to create a virtual machine. Right now, how Active Directory works for us. So if I simply go here in Google, obviously, and you can see the assign role, you cannot find anything. But if you click on sign in, maybe you can find some information, or we have to wait for some time, because after some time you can also see, okay, this user has been logged in here and what time it was. So all those information you can find under this place. And all, if you want to check the sign-in activity for all the user, you can find here as well. And you can see that who logged in, when logged in, and Danny, I practiced, but you do not find the Danny Bravo. Just wait, because it will sign in, sign out, wait for some time. Anyway, I just would like to give some information to you only. Okay, guys, now let's go to virtual machine. Actually, just to make sure that we are doing the right step. And here, what we can do, we can just go to this machine, HarshArena server, right? Because if you go back to here under virtual machine, we do not see anything, any information, right? So let me just go back here in our administrator, and here, guys, we have access control. Now this is related to identity and access management, which is managed by Active Directory. So here you can assign the roles. So I will click add role assignment. So to whom, what role assignment I would like to give? I would like to give owner permission to this specific virtual machine. To whom? Danny Bravo. So I select this Danny Bravo, which has been added already. Click save, and this will be added successfully for us. And as soon as it has been added, it means we have assigned successfully this role assignment. Yeah, and you can also verify that the Danny Bravo, what kind of permission we have, or what sort of information we have, you can find out. He is the owner right now for this virtual machine. So guys, this is how you are managing those information while handling the creation of the user. I think you won't find this so difficult, correct? All right, now let's go back to Azure Active Directory, and we can find, okay, let's do one thing, guys. Let me also show you how you can create the username via PowerShell as well, right? Let's do it. Let's learn from the PowerShell as well. So guys, to create users via PowerShell, it's pretty simple and easy. The commands are also very easy, not a difficult thing. So right now what we are going to do, we are going to publish our PowerShell, means it's Azure Shell. From here, Cloud Shell, we are going to start in creating our username. And to begin with that, first we have to do, we have to type the command. Wow. Okay, let me try again. Yeah, this time it's fine. Type, the first command is connect Azure AD, which will allow us to connect with our Azure Identity Service, or Azure AD. And after that, the very first thing, we have to create a strong password profile. So for that, I'm going to create a profile, which is a variable. So this is gonna be new object, so which should be this. And the type of object would be, just type not name. And this is Microsoft Open Azure AD model dot password profile. So this is the variable I have created for a new object, that whenever we type a password, it should be this one. The next line, I'm going to type the password for us. So once you're ready and make sure it is correct, just press enter. The next one is, again, we have to type the same password profile. Just type password profile dot password, because now we are going to mention what would be the password for that. So I give test pass 123 hash dollar bracket close, sorry, inverted comma close. And now we are ready with this. Now the last line, it means we are going to start creating our username. So type Azure AD User. This would be the one. Yep, correct. And then the first thing is we would like to verify whether this account should be true or false. Means true means it should be enabled. False means it should be disabled. So it's asking us whether we would like to enable or disable the username. And then password profile. Obviously, we would like to give the password profile, which is pwd profile. Don't make any mistake, because if you make any mistake, then it won't recognize and it mentioned that your password profile is null. Now the next step is display name. We would like to give the display name, and the name is test user because it will help us to identify our user correctly. Then the next is user principal name, which is very important one, that how and what name we would like to give to start creation of our user. So test user HarshArena.in inverted comma close. And now this will help us to create our username. And the last one is mail. If you have any email ID, what would be your nickname for that? So I'm going to give test user, would be the easiest one. So, or not yes user, test user. I'm very bad in, you know, type or on the keyboard. I cannot even type without look at the keyboard. So that's my problem. Anyway, if we are good with all the information here, yeah, one more mistake. I think we would rectify that correctly, because after password profile, before to type in the variable in this command, I have to make sure the space would be there. Otherwise, it won't recognize the command correctly. Yeah, now that looks better. Press enter. There you go. So right now we have the object ID. Based on this object ID, the test user RR is going to be recognized. So let me just go to default directory we already are in, and let me go to users and just check. Wow, there you go. So guys, there's already I have created with a micro test I have created in the past, but you can see we have created a new one called test user @harsharena.in. So that's how you create your user using PowerShell. Now we already know that how you can create a user via UI as well as from PowerShell. The next step is what is groups, how they are going to use, and what is the purpose of them to be created. I still open my Azure PowerShell because first we are going to create our group using PowerShell and then later from UI. Guys, the advantage of using groups is all about how you can control your users for a specific purpose. What does it mean? For example, if you have email servers or Exchange server or connected with Office 365 and you want to deliver all of your emails to each and every members in the organization, then you can control one thing. You can do one thing. You can create a group name or whatever the group you would like to create and add all of your users into that group. Now that group recognized with a specific email ID and use that email ID to receive all the emails under who is the member of that group, right? This would be the common practice in any of the organization. The second advantage or second way you can use your groups is for a security group. For example, you are based on different organization label, like you are marketing person, you are from sales, you are from IT. So you can create groups based on these names and add users according to their job profile into these groups. Now, if you like to send an email to any of the group, you can do that. Another thing, if you like to implement the security for a specific department, you don't need to add users individually. You simply add the whole group and automatically the same permissions gonna be replicated to each and every member of that group. So that's the advantage of using your group information in Azure Active Directory. I hope it helps you to clear all of your questions and doubts about it. Now let's go to where you can find this information. So guys, if I go to groups, you can find here are some of the groups, and I have actually created one of the group name called HarshArena owners who have the complete permission, and it's a security group. So if in case I would like to create a security implement a security, I just need to add HarshArena owners group and automatically it replicates those permission to the members of this group. Similarly, right now I'm going to create a new group first via PowerShell and then from UI. So from PowerShell, it is pretty easy, guys. Just type Azure group. Instead of user, you just type Azure AD group. So once you type this one, the next step is obviously the display name. So what display name you would like to give that group? So I give test security. I think it's fine, right? Group. Yeah, that's okay. And then whether you want to be mail enabled, because right now I don't want, the reason why is this is a security group. This is not email group. So I'm going to type false here for the best example. And then whether this is gonna be security enabled or not, then yes, here you have to type true, because this is gonna be security enabled. And what would be the email for this nickname? So I give test security group as an example. So once you're ready with all the information, you just need to press enter, and automatically it does create a security group. So it's that simple, guys. I mean, not at all difficult thing. And don't worry, both user and the group PowerShell I'm going to add into the video description. You can go and get that information, and whenever you want, just copy paste, change whatever the variable you want or the name you want, and rest you can do it easily by your own. So okay, so now let me just close this PowerShell, because I want to be refresh here. Yeah, so as you can see, the test security group has been created and membership has been assigned automatically. Similarly, guys, on the UI, just click new group and you can start creating your security or email group or Microsoft 365 group. It's all up to you. So let's say I'm going to create a Microsoft 365 group name, HarshArena mail. That's it. That's the name of the group, and this would be the complete email ID for this particular group, because right now we are using this identity to assign all the email IDs. Description I don't want, but yeah, just HA marketing mail group. So this has to be recognized with this. Once everything is one thing, if you like to assign any specific owner, the name of the username, you can assign that. If don't, that's fine. And also the same members to whom you want to add right now. So you can add if you want. If you don't, then that's okay. Just click create. So this group will be created automatically, and that's right here. So how do you find this creation? I'm very much sure it's very easy, very simple to you. All right, guys, so we have completed all of our steps. The only thing, there are two different practicals is currently remaining. The first one is the new guest user, which we would like to create. Basically, it's a guest user, and as I mentioned earlier during our slides discussion or the theory part, that the guest user is basically allow us to engage other people or other developers which is outside our Azure Active Directory domain, or we can say tenant. So in today's example, I'm not going to choose any of the Azure Active Directory domain account. I'm going to choose Google or Gmail account, where I would like to show you that how the invitation goes from Azure Active Directory from the user from here, and what kind of information you can see in Google or any other email servers or email services you are using. The next operation we have is the bulk operation. The purpose of the bulk operation is all about how you can create users in bulk using CSV format, which is pretty simple and straightforward. The only hinge here is currently I'm using Mac, but to edit this bulk operation file, I use Windows operating system, because somehow I'm trying to edit in text edit in my Mac, but it gives some kind of error messages like the columns are currently used like 49, although I have updated only 17 columns. So I just want to tell you that this is one thing you have to keep in your mind, and make sure that you are not making any mistake if you are using Mac operating system. So let's begin first with the bulk operation, and once it is completed, then we will go to our last step, is creating an invitation and send to the users who is outside our tenant or Azure Active Directory domain area. That's all I can say. That's the word I can use. I think the bulk operation is pretty simple and straight, and if you like to work on the bulk creation, invitation, delete, although the steps are quite similar. Even the advantage here is you can create the users based on your requirement, that's for sure, and it gives you a template which you just need to add it, make sure you are doing the right step, and that's all. You need to do only that step. If you have updated that file correctly, then it allows you to upload your file without any issue, and things will work absolutely fine. So don't worry, let me show you that how this bulk creation works, because we are going to cover today bulk creation, and rest of the thing I think you can try by yourself. Also, if you do not have any user, you can also download user. That's even the option from Microsoft itself, because if you don't want to make any mistake, if you go here, or let's say any specific file, file name is this one. Anyway, let me try just to show you what kind of information we can find while downloading these users as well. Although you can edit your user by your own, because obviously it also happened that we are not sure that what are the username and the password we are expecting in the real-time scenario. You have to edit those information by your own. So you can do that. All right, click on title for more information. All right, so bulk operation file is ready. Click here to download. That's fine. So file has been downloaded. Let me check and let me show you. Yeah, it is currently open. So as you can see, it's like Bravo. This is the format it currently used to analyze my data. Although you can use the similar one and update and change and values, it's fine. So let me just go back. Where is my Chrome? Right here. So that's fine. And currently, let me try to create a new one, because you can edit those information, although we would like to create our new one. Still, Microsoft allows you to download kind of sample file. You can make them edit based on your requirement, and that's how it works. So as soon as you download, first I would like to show you that what information you can find in this one. To make you better understanding, let me just open this file in a text edit. You can still do the same thing, export user file, and here guys, export edit file for you. Let me first explain that what information you can find here. So basically there are 4 important or required format we need. Just like while we're creating any user, we need to make sure we should write down display name, which is required, UPN or user principal name, complete, that thing also required, the password that is required, and last step, whether you want to enable the user or not, that is required. Apart from that, in total there are 17 columns. You need to make sure add it completely. Now this is the sample file I have updated for you, and I would like to share with you that how you need to update. And as I said, I would like to repeat again, I added this file in Windows operating system. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you have this information with you. So only thing I removed here is that example. That's it. Then this is the name of my user for bulk operation, as an example, HarshUser1. This is the UPN name, the password, and then whether you want to enable this user or not. Now guys, in total we have 17 column. Although it is not required, but we need to consider, we need to write down information. So if you don't want to write down any information, then you have to, keep typing commas up to 17 values. For example, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Similarly, you have to do the same common step for all of them. Just change the values like 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3 HarshArena.in, and automatically this file is ready to upload. Now, to ensure that we have successfully done the operation, let me just go back to my page, and here I'm going to select a file which is on my desktop, bulk operation. And as soon as if there is no mistake, you can find out file uploaded successfully. If there's any mistake, then you can find there is some issue. So guys, here I'm going to click submit and wait for some time. It will complete the operation in 1 minute and 1.5. So we have to wait for that. All right, so finally we can see we have created our users successfully, HarshUser 1, 2, and 3. So guys, this is the simplest way to create multiple users at the same time, which is not at all a difficult task for you, right? So we have completed this step successfully, and I think you can also try by your own. If it works, that's great. If you don't want to try, again, it's up to you, because it can help you to understand that how you can achieve your goal easily in terms of bulk operation. Now, the last practical we do have is a new guest user. So just click on this, and now we would like to invite the user. So actually, I would like to show you something here. I have already logged in with my account, which is called Danny Jangra. Is the name of my baby account actually, but I created on a fake site. So the username is Danny AZ test @gmail.com, as you can see right here, right? So I'm going to invite this user and to see whether we are going to receive any email and see how it actually works for us in our scenario. So let me go back to invite our user. So the name is Danny. Sorry, it should be, I told you I'm very bad in typo. So it's Danny AZ test @gmail.com. So once you type this, if it has been recognized, I just need to type Danny Jangra, right? And this is the personal message I would like to send to Danny. Please help me to build my website. Thank you. I write down this. How it is going to work for us, I don't want to write down any other information. Just click invite. Now, it is going to send an invitation to Danny at this particular email ID, which is outside of our tenant or Azure Active Directory, because that's the reality of using the guest user, because the overall purpose is we need to ensure that another person to whom we are trying to ask for help can help us, and you can assign these IAM, which is called identity and access management, to this user in terms of virtual machine, web application, any project. You can assign this guest, and the guest need to just logged in, and he can see what kind of permission he has based on application management, and there you go, you have all the access. Just to verify whether what kind of information we receive, let me just go back, and there you go. Default directory invited you to access application. So here's the information, and this is what is my message that I have requested for him to build my website. Okay, he will receive this message and say, okay, that's fine. Then just click on accept invitation. So now, after he accesses that directory, if he has access in the past, so what he has to do, he simply need to sign in with his password, like normal password. And as soon as if it is correct, then automatically it will sign into the, like it will ask you, do you want to renew the permission and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's okay, because it is happening for the first time. Then you can receive these kind of messages and information. So as soon as this guy logged in successfully in Microsoft directory, which is my directory, so it can analyze the applications, that what application he has permission to access. Today, we do not have any application, but in the further example, don't worry, we will have this example. So we will try and test this one for you, so we can learn. But at least you should know why you need to create the guest user and how exactly it works for you, right? I'm pretty sure that these old practices which we have done today is no difficult things for you, correct? I hope the same. So let's go back to the slide and finish our session. I hope guys you like the overall session and you get something new from today's session, and I request you and highly recommend every one of you to keep trying these practices in your Azure free trial, or in case if you are doing job, so please create a Azure account with the money, pay as you go. So keep practice, delete your resources, keep practice, delete your resources. That actually help you to learn and gain knowledge, as well as it won't charge you so much. That's my suggestion to you. And don't worry guys, I will keep coming with the new stuff, trying to do it in every week multiple times. But yeah, lots of other thing is also going on with me. I would like to share with you, but not today. So please take care, and maybe I'll request you next week if I'm not able to get a complete step. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this has been quite informative and helpful for you. Please take care guys. The corona situation is not so good in India, and we are expecting third wave as well. I really pray for you, and pray for everyone in India. Help each other, and just build yourself to a strong point. And I'm also working on my body, my mind, and lots of other things. There's lots of other things I'll share, because I remember that I also have to share my Microsoft experience or China experience, or my maybe life experiences. So I have a plan to create small videos for you, and we'll upload soon, so that we get to know each other pretty well. And I'm hoping that as soon as our COVID situation is getting better, as I mentioned earlier as well, that I'm coming to your city, and let's have a coffee together and enjoy the session and try to learn from each other. Maybe something new, I will get it from you guys. So thank you once again watching this video. Have a good time. Enjoy your day. Peace.